So thumbnail sketch here. Obviously, Southwest has been kind of in the news last couple of weeks for some things that are happening. Mover and I have talked about a little bit on previous shows as far as, maybe there's something going on with the training and whatnot. So basically, going into Oak City, it appears that they descended pretty low, thinking that maybe they were close to the airport and they weren't. So this is a little thing by Vast Aviation. We won't watch the whole thing, just kind of the highlight here of what happened, and then we'll chat about it. Can you guys hear it?
Yeah.
4069, clear visual approach 13, your main frequency, clear to land.
Clear for visual 13, stay with you and clear to land, south of 4069.
This is at night.
Oh, yeah. Very late, right?
Yeah.
4069, low altitude alert. You good out there?
Never want to hear
Yeah,
that.
we're going around 4069.
So there's an overlay. So pretty far from the airport.
You want to go around and come back for 13? You're going to continue with the approach?
Yeah, we'll come back around for 17. Come on.
Okay, 17 right?
Yeah, we'll do that.
4069, maintain 3000, and it'll be like a right 180 turn right heading of 360, maintain 3000 for once in the right.
All right, right turn 360, southwest.
And then, yep, they get vectored around.
How about 4069, turn right heading 050?
Right turn 050.
All right, I'll pause it. How do I start? Here we go.
Do you have one question? Did you watch it to the end? Did they shoot a visual to 17, or did they set up for an instrument approach?
Visual. Well, they called the runway in sight. They landed.
I'm just curious.
That's what I remember. So, have you flown in there, Wombat? Have you flown in there at night?
Not recently, but enough that it's not a whole lot different than a lot of the places out there. Everything's pretty flat. Right. It's real easy to lose SA to where you are. Going into Little Rock's one of my favorites when they clear you for the visual 50 miles out. And you're like, well, I'm not going to do that.
So Oak City is one of the places I've been into numerous times. And having been there, like, I can see how this could happen. I think it's Tinker. I wanted to see I was looking at the map, but there's a couple airfields there that, like, if you're not careful, just visually looking, you can be like, because whether you've got the autopilot going full up or if the other guy's flying, I always like to, for my own essay, I like to look out. Okay, is that the airport? Then I look on the screen, the digital screen, right? I'm like, yeah, that's it, right? So, but there's been times I've gone into Oak City and I'm like, I think that's the field, and I look, I'm like, oh no, wait, it's over here. And my point is,
I was wondering if it, I don't know if it's Tinker. What I was wondering is if it was a highway.
Or that's been the other speculation. You're right, because I looked before the show. I got on SkyVector or whatever, and I was looking, and there's no 17 a field out there at all. I usually get it mixed up. There's a pretty big strip just to the north of Oak City there that your eyeball can kind of glam off on. But I guess my real question, I'm not, I know some guys at South, I haven't asked, but I'm curious, man, whether it's late at night or in the bright of day, going into any field, even if it's a less, if you're going into like JFK, whatever, you probably, full up everything. But do you ever just turn it off and go visual? I mean, I would think that you always have some sort of guidance on that feeds into the flight director that will get you to the right runway.
So my airline's policy is, if there's an underlying approach, you will have it loaded for this right reason. I, especially at night, especially when I'm tired, am an air traffic controller's worst nightmare, because I just won't call the field in sight, period, until I'm on final. And I've done that. I've done that here at the airport. I landed all the time. Yeah, sorry guys, don't have it. And then as I roll out on final, I'm like, yeah, I got it. As we're on the glide slope path coming down, I'm like, yeah, sure, you could say I got it now. But it's one of those things where I'm like, it's not worth it. Like, to me, and I teach it, and you're going to love this. It's an old Hornet saying, flying a visual in the airline world is like dropping a bomb. You can only break even. If
Yeah.
you do it perfectly, nobody's going to pat you on the back for your awesome visual approach. But if you
100%.
screw it up, they're going to be all in your chili. And I'm sure these poor guys have a lot of heat on them right now. So
yeah, I mean, I remember in the Hornet, the first couple of cross countries I did going into like Fort Worth, like at night, dude, without any, there's no way there's no way I can tell what's a runway, what's a highway, what's a, like, I'm just really surprised that at night, and I know these guys retired, that they didn't have some sort of guidance pulled up. And I don't know like what their procedures are or whatever, but that's the only thing that's kind of, that makes me scratch my head. But hey, the moral of the story, the good part of the story is like the system worked, right? I mean,
so that is the thing. And we don't know exactly what happened. It'll come out. They went around.
Yeah. Well, and also
at the end of the day, they went around.
Well, and also the air traffic controller, and he's like, hey, low altitude alert. You guys okay out there? I mean, that's
how it should work. So
that's right. So, if I mean, if 500 feet, 600 feet, whatever it is, I mean, that's pretty low. I mean, the only time you're that low in an airliner is when you're climbing out passing that, or
trying to remember how to flare. I know.
Or a few seconds from flaring to land, right? So like I wonder, like, man, if ATC wouldn't have stepped in, like how far would that have gone before?
I'm surprised. I mean, unless they just didn't have a rated decent, I'm surprised they weren't already getting pull-ups and terrain warnings and all that. I'm shocked at that. What was it, 500-600 feet above the ground?
That's what it said, 600 foot.
They were dead level.
Yeah,
how is that chip was not going off? I mean,
Oklahoma's pretty flat.
Still, they're low. I mean,
yeah.
So,
plus, maybe they
depending
did.
on which direction you're pointed. I mean, a lot of them will go off with looking at obstacles too. So, like you look at that. I'm not as familiar with where the city is, but if there's because we've had, not we as our airline, but there have been people in this area that the city has pinged them for low altitude, and it's the buildings.
See, if we had Mover, who's a 7.3 quasi expert, we could ask him. Be like,
he is far more of a SME than I will ever be on the 7.3. I promise you.
I know. I'm proud of that. That's a goal of mine. That's a goal of mine. But
if I ever fly a plane that doesn't auto trim for me, something is wrong with my head. So
yeah, well, we'll there's an investigation going. It's going to come out. It's going to get sent out to everybody who flies an airliner, for all of us to learn.
Yeah.
And 100%, I don't know how it could happen, but I'm not immune to these kind of mistakes. So
100%. And that's what aviation is all about. I'm glad they did the right thing. At the end of the day, all jokes aside, thanks for pushing the power up and making the houses smaller and making the right call.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what passengers and people on the ground rely on us to do. So
yeah.